G'day viewers, how are you? It's Wednesday. We've made it to hump day, halfway through the week. Congratulations, I hope things are treating you okay. Wednesday means it's time for Wangafat Wednesday, where I usually talk about what am I not giving a fuck about today. And having thought about it for a couple of days, I'm going to go with the vegan protests that happened in Australia on Monday. If you missed this story, what happened around Australia, there were some coordinated activist protests by hardline vegans. A lot of this involved chaining themselves to machinery at various abattoirs and slaughterhouses. And most notably, from the public point of view, they blocked what is essentially the main intersection leading into the Melbourne CBD, where the trams come in and where cars come in. And well, quite honestly, that did not endear them to people, surprisingly enough, fucking up people's Monday morning by doing this in peak hour. But seeing stuff that's happened since then, I was like, well, even at the time, with the abattoir actions, even though I'm a meat eater through and through, I'm 100% on board with it. They have a point, they have a valid point, and they're attacking it at its source, chaining themselves to the machinery. I'm actually 100% behind that. Now, blocking the main intersection, going into town on a Monday morning where every poor sucker's going into their wage slave job, and this was actually the first morning that a major bit of public works disrupted a huge number of trains, so there were thousands and thousands of people who had to allow an extra hour to get into work, only to get almost all the way and find out their entry had been blocked, and it was probably going to take them an additional 40 minutes to get into work. So in terms of hearts and minds, I'll go out on a limb and say that was a fucking stupid idea, poorly planned. And what is it? Here's the thing. You get, I don't know if PETA were behind this, but this is typical of their sort of things. There is a certain sort of activist whose attitude seems to be attention at any cost. Even if you already have the reputation of being obnoxious and smug, and then you do something to really fuck about a huge number of people, I will go out on a limb and say this action not only did not increase support for this cause one iota, it actually earned them a fuck ton of new enemies. So my initial thought to the blocking of the street was, you're fucking morons. This is why people think vegans are assholes. But honestly, the stuff that happened subsequently softened me a little. And not least, there was a union demonstration this week trying to increase basic living wages. Now, that's a cause I'm 100% behind. And I realised thinking, wow, so I don't actually care. Not only don't care, I actively encourage protests like the climate strike, protesting to have asylum seekers released from Australia's prison islands, or unions demonstrating for basic worker rights. I'm 100% behind them, and although because they get an enormous number of people, it tends to disrupt traffic flow around the city, I'm 100% behind that. So I did realise at least part of the reason that I wasn't on board with the blockade of Flinders Street and Swanston Street by the vegans is I honestly don't give a fuck about them. And I'm not behind the cause, so I'm not. But it was also, it wasn't a very large protest by a very large number of people that moved through the city. It was a small protest by a small number of people who were, I don't think there's any point pussyfooting around it, being assholes and alienating people. But at the end of the day, they ended up not being the biggest assholes. It was super weird because, like I said, there were protests all over, and possibly, or maybe definitely, the strangest thing I heard about, and there were pictures of this guy in the media. I think this happened in Geelong, at one of the animal rights protests. This guy ran off to the supermarket, got a tray of uncooked beef mince, ground beef to Americans, and started eating it off the tray to taunt the vegans. To which I'm going, contracting E. coli to own the vegans. I'm not sure you're from the deep end of the gene pool, are you, buddy? I'm not sure that I am on your side at all, you fucking weirdo. And speaking of people whose side I am not on at all, the federal government, their reaction to this is, oh, we're going to introduce all these new laws that will criminalise that thing, like getting onto farms and disrupting slaughterhouses, going to introduce specific criminal offences for that, going to send these vegans to jail. It's like, yeah, be fascists. Why not? That's it. Like I said, the vegans, with the blocking the roads in peak hour on an already shitty day for people, they'd gotten me offside. But if you want to get me on side with someone, be a shithead government who promotes the idea that, you know, we should be outright fascists about this. And it is really worth pointing out, with the government instantly overnight, because of one set of protests saying we're going to introduce a whole bunch of new criminal offences and put this lot in jail, they are taking a harder line against non-violent vegan protesters than they are against fucking Nazis. People advocating violence and extermination of anyone who's not them. This is not hyperbole. These people I'm talking about, they promote the teachings of Hitler. They think Mein Kampf is a great book. Get under their shirts. A significant number of them have fucking swastika tattoos or the other Nazi insignia. Okay? So this government, which has done absolutely fucking nothing to address the extreme danger of violent, right-wing, white nationalist, white supremacist, Nazi ideology. They've done nothing whatsoever to combat that, but they're going to go out hard against vegans. So if you want to know who the real villain is here, just look at who's the one who thinks vegans are worse than Nazis. This government is shit. The clock is running out on them. We still don't know the exact date of when the election's going to be, but they're going down. They're going down in a screaming heap. I'm going to live stream it, probably off my chops, but these people are pieces of shit, and I don't give a fuck about them.